What is going on, everybody? David Noy with Speakeasy HR, presented by Payroll Partners. I am live here at the HR Collaborative with our guest starting out these interviews today. He's our keynote, Andre Young. Andre, welcome to Speakeasy HR.
Thank you for having me, and
Yeah,
how
man.
do you guys out there?
Yeah, so you are our keynote speaker. We started the day with your topic, and it was about your book, the Leaders Seven,
Yes.
the 7 professional languages of leadership.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So this is your first time at this event?
First time at this event.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think you got connected to Matt.
Yeah, I spoke at Harako, I think last year or maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I love these because you never know who you're impacting or bumping into or what
Right.
happens from it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So we're going to get into your topic a little bit, just a quick version, because all of these interviews, I've got 10 of the guest speakers in the breakout sessions live with me on these sessions. So it'll be a quick 15-minute interview with the speakers. So tell me about your book. So what's the book about? And it was part of what you were talking about today.
Absolutely. Well, I have 3 leadership books. One is 7 Ways to Lead, which features the Leader 7, those 7 professional languages.
Yeah.
And I have the Leader's Toolbox.
Yeah.
So you have to be in a position of leadership for that to be.
Okay.
And then so honored to have another one coming out later this fall called The Complete Leader.
The Complete Leader.
Yeah.
Love it. That is awesome. Yeah. So that was what you talked about this morning, and I was back here listening, and it felt like you were really getting the crowd engaged, and it was awesome. We have about, I don't know, 230 people here today. There's breakout sessions going. So part of what I do on this, Andre, every Monday when I do them live, is a envelope icebreaker game. So it's 15 questions. You get to pick one of them, and it's just a quick icebreaker game. So we're gonna quickly play this little intro and let you pick a number here. So 1 through 15, everybody can see them. So what number you want?
I'm gonna do. My son plays football. He loves number 9. Let's do 9.
Number 9. All right. Number 9.
I'm excited.
What is your favorite restaurant, cocktail, or movie?
Wow. Let's see. Favorite restaurant. Okay. So my wife and I spoke down in Florida, down in Boca Raton.
Okay.
Stayed at the Boca. Highly recommended if you're ever in the area.
Okay.
And the Boca is this resort-ish type of thing. It's like a golf club. And it's so big that I've never seen a blade of grass of the golf club. Lazy river going through it.
Oh, yeah.
It was a place to eat called the Flamingo.
Okay.
I wanted a ribeye. They said, sir, we're out of that. I said, okay, I'll take a filet mignon. They said, sir, we're out of that. I was like, what kind of steakhouse is this? So they brought out a sirloin. And to this day, I've never had a meal that I wanted to lick the plate of.
Really?
Every bite, every side that they brought out, because I could just eat meat. My wife and I, who's the best cook and baker out there,
okay.
You heard me say it here.
Oh, see?
Every bite we took, we both said, Cocktail, I am a big Crown Apple. So Crown Royal Apple.
Okay.
Every time I taste it, I'm like, this is right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I live in Kentucky. This is my podcast, Speakeasy HR. It's a blend of HR topics. It kind of goes into the vibe of a speakeasy, right? So you have obviously bourbon, and so that's what we're known for in Kentucky. So, well, thanks for playing the game. And like I said, we only have a quick 15 minutes of with each of the speakers that are coming on. So Andre, like I said, was the keynote. He came on and had an amazing conversation with our team, with our audience. So kind of give us a short version of what you were kind of talking about, because you were asking people like, what are your top 2 and what's your least?
Yeah.
So dive into that just a little bit for us.
So for me, it's all about, as a leader, when we can enhance our communication, our connection, because just because you're communicating doesn't mean you're connecting.
Right.
It enhances our culture and then your results. Results do matter.
Oh, yeah.
However, when we're results first, we risk all of those 3 C's. And just because you do the 3 C's, if you don't get results, you're going to get fired.
Yeah.
So the best way is to speak somebody's language. So there's 7 professional languages. And really quick run through, there's people on your team that love, or you love, goodie time, those treats,
Goodie time.
pizza,
Yeah.
that hoagie day, those donuts, those treats on the desk.
Yep.
You have quality minutes, a few minutes of conversation with your boss or employee that have nothing to do with work.
Yep.
Recognition and affirmation, that pat on the back.
Yep.
We have knowledge and or advancement. Some of your people want to know more and be more. They want to be you one day. And some want to be great where they are, but they don't want to move up. And that has to be okay.
Yeah.
Right? You have incentives. So those incentives for a job well done, going above and beyond.
Right.
You have flexibility. Can they do their job in a flexible manner, or their ideas flexibly be implemented? And then you have respect. As leaders, can we be respectful with our tone of voice, our email etiquette, our manners, all of these different things, how we show up to our job and personal leadership.
Right.
So as a leader, you have to be able to speak all 7. But we tend to lead very lazy, and we're going to lead with our top 2. We know their top 2. We always have their ear. We always have impact. We always have influence.
Right.
And whether they stay and develop under you or they leave, they'll always talk good about you out in the world, and they kick back great things. So I equated it to the love languages. And Gary Chapman, if you're watching this, that book is absolutely phenomenal.
There you go.
However, it doesn't always translate into the workplace and in tasks.
Yeah.
I'm big on physical touch and quality time. I go physically touching, people at work. I'm at HR, and quality time. I didn't need that when I was an employee.
Right.
And not all of your leaders and employees do. So when you speak their top 2 languages, it's amazing. You can still speak yours, but marry it with theirs. Put it in your calendar. Know which one resonates with you the least, because that might mean what you have to schedule, or else you won't do it. The big thing, you guys listening, you want to do it every year with your people. It's literally one sheet. Their name, they circle it, hand it back to you. The last thing you want to be doing is speaking somebody's old language. People change over time.
Yeah.
Their languages change over time. Just like those love languages, they change over time.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the gist of it. And then, it's how do you speak it? In casual times, walking through the office, on remote work, in our emails. That's the deposits in the bank, so you can have the difficult conversation.
Right.
But then how do you use the 7 in those difficult conversations with your team and your people?
Yeah.
So that's the gist of it.
Absolutely. And it doesn't matter if you're remote working or in the office. So this really applies to anybody listening to this. So obviously, take what you are listening to from Andre and try to figure out how you can apply that. And where can they find your work, Andre?
So the simplest way is youevolvingnow.com. So YOU, evolvingnow.com.
Okay.
There's a lot of free things there with videos. I'm not hoarding content. There's videos there. Yeah. But then there's also things like my books, my speaking engagements, and my online program, the bigger training program. Everything you need is right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I tagged Andre in the LinkedIn comment section and also in the speaker list on the live. So if you aren't watching it live and you're watching it after the fact, or if you're watching it live, you can get to his content on LinkedIn, connect with him. And you're from Philly?
I'm from Philly. I now live outside of Philly, but I'm always Philly in my heart. Yeah.
Okay. So I haven't been to Philly. I feel like I need to go. So anything you suggest?
Come on down.
Anything you suggest I go do? Get a Philly cheesesteak, obviously, right?
Yeah, but it's where you go. So you want to get a Philly cheesesteak. So I would go to Jim's on 4th and South.
Jim's on 4th and South.
Delisandro's.
Okay.
The history there.
Yeah.
From the art museum to the Liberty Bell, and so many free things to do to see the city.
Yeah.
It's been great. I've had a great time here.
Yeah. Is this your first time to Ohio?
Not first time to Ohio. Okay. First time in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
And
then, this is considered Cincinnati.
Yeah, and then the bridge. I took a bridge ride over, and then I'm in Kentucky. So I had to do that too.
Well, the airport isn't in Ohio, which you probably figured out, right?
Yeah.
The Cincinnati airport is in Kentucky. So you kind of, you missed the flood we had.
Oh, no.
We had a bad flood river. It was one of the worst in history. Wow. So you missed that, but you got to go over the bridge and see the Kentucky side of the river in Ohio. So this has been great. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
And good luck with everything. And hopefully you stick around and kind of mingle with people. And I know your book will be here. You'll be out there. So if you aren't watching, you can get his book, go to his website. But people here will be able to meet Andre and get his book. So appreciate all your time, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming.
You guys out there have an awesome rest of your day.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna go on to the next one here. All right.
Clip that.
So we do have people watching live. We went through our first speaker, keynote, Andre Young, awesome. And so how this event is set up is we have breakout sessions. And so we have several breakout sessions going on at the same time. But the guest speakers have decided to come on and talk with me on Speakeasy HR and really hear more about their topic that they're bringing to the event. So Kathy Seidel with MRA is my next one. So welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me, and hi to everyone who I know messaged me and said they're watching. I'm pretending you're not here.
There we go. There we go. So this will be on Spotify after, so people can listen to it, or Amazon, Apple, and also YouTube. So you've been with MRA for how long now?
Going on 7 years almost now.
7 years.
Yes.
So what got you into like HR? I always ask that question for the HR people.
So funny enough, I started school as a music education major.
Okay.
And only lasted a couple months in that. But during that time, I got a job on campus and kind of fell into HR in that. So as I was looking for a new major, was like, oh, I'll try business, and then kind of at that turned into HR, and it's been history ever since.
It's always fascinating to hear how people get into HR. I had someone on my podcast, and she, at like 7 years old, would play like she's in an HR role because her mom and parents were in HR. So it's always fascinating to hear what people say. So,
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So your topic that you have going today was about retention,
Yes.
right? Mastering retention, building loyalty in a shifting workforce. And man, I tell you, it is a shifting workforce. If anybody's involved in hiring and recruiting and retention and development, like a lot of these people here today are. So before we get into that, if you haven't watched the podcast before, I do a envelope icebreaker game. So it is 15 envelopes, and you get to pick a number.
Ooh.
So I'm going to play the quick intro again so that people watching hear us okay, because that's always something that I want to make sure is happening. So 1 through 15.
Oh, I get first pick.
You get to pick. What
I'm
are you going to take?
I'm actually gonna go for 1 because
One?
that's
Okay.
how old my son turned last week.
Oh, that's
so-
awesome. That's awesome. Did he take the cake and just like eat it all?
2 of them. You got a vanilla
2 of
and
them.
a chocolate.
Woo.
Yep, yes.
All right.
Ooh, who is the greatest rapper of all time?
Yes, I love this question.
I'm gonna say right now I'm just still really big into Kendrick. So Kendrick
Okay.
Lamar.
Okay.
I think he's got a lot of power to his words, and I
Yeah.
think he's really controversial but inspirational. And
Yeah.
So
I got that question from watching Family Feud,
aha.
and it was the top 7 or top 5 rappers of all time.
Sure.
And the family that was like trying to figure out who was on that list, they didn't get like 3 of them, and I was just like, how did you not get those? I think Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, one of them was at the top. I forget which one. Eminem,
Oh yeah.
one of them. But anyway, but yeah, so that question came from Family Feud. So if you are watching live, if you can put in the comments that you can hear us, because I'm pretty sure you can hear us. This was all tested before now, so hopefully you can hear us and there's not too much background noise. But we are in the center where everybody is gonna have lunch and talk to all the vendors that are here, including payroll partners. So let's get into this retention topic.
Yes.
That you had brought as a key as a breakout. So you're going to be in the 1 o'clock
Yes.
breakout
Right
session.
after lunch. Got to keep everybody
So right,
awake.
Right after lunch, people are going to hear about retention. So what brought this topic to the event, and why did you pick that?
Yeah. So obviously, being the manager of recruiting at MRA, I talk to a lot of organizations about hiring people and plugging the gaps after they're full.
Yep.
But I think what's even more important is stopping the gaps from happening at all. So, thinking about how can we keep people around? How can we keep those that we want? And also, how can we be comfortable with turnover when it happens? Because there is turnover that's going to happen.
Yep.
The retirement wave that's going on right now.
Yep.
There's a lot of mishires that have happened in the last few years because
Yep.
you were like, I just need a body to do the work. And now as things are kind of calming down, you're like, ooh, this isn't the right body doing the right work.
Right.
And so talking through all those things are kind of how this is coming to be. But really, again, being in recruiting, I see a lot of like, we wish we didn't lose that person. And so what can you do as an organization to keep those people around?
So give us a couple of strategies or things that people should be considering. And it's probably what you'll talk about in your breakout. So knowing that we only have a few minutes,
Yeah.
I want to hear just a few. You don't have to say everything.
100%.
But
Yeah.
obviously, people that are not here, you're getting FOMO, hopefully, that you're not here to hear about the retention strategy. So tell us a little bit about like what you would suggest companies to do.
Yeah, I think what's really important is think about that employment life cycle and kind of what you can do at each stage of it.
Yep.
So retention really does start with the recruitment when they're finding work and finding and deciding you. What are you saying to them then that they're going to hear throughout? And does that still ring true through the rest of the time?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will decide very quickly if this wasn't a fit for them because you missold them on the role or on the company.
Right.
And then as they're sticking through, how are you listening to them? How are you getting information? Like we kind of heard from Andrew this morning, what's in your mind. What, makes you inspired. What drives you. But also, what drives them and how do you know that you're connecting with them? And then the last big thing, when people do leave, make sure you're closing the door in a good way, that it's not closed all the way.
Yeah.
Because you never know when someone's going to be a boomerang employee. Maybe they're a future customer or a future vendor that you're getting quotes from. And hey, maybe you get a better quote because they still like you.
Yep.
Or most importantly, a brand advocate. Someone who says, I used to work at that company. I just needed to change my career, but they're a great organization.
Yeah.
All of those things are going to happen if you close that door in the right way with them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, retention is so important, and turnover, people want to have, 100% retention. And I feel like that is a hard task and goal because you're going to have turnover.
Yes.
And, you want fresh ideas. You want people to come in and think about ways to potentially do things differently than what they're doing before. Because I hate it when someone's like, oh, that's the way we've done it all along.
Yes.
Or that's the way we've always done it. It's like, well, things are changing all the time.
Yes.
You have AI and you have the ways that people are working remotely still and in an office. And then some of the younger individuals, young professionals coming into the workforce, right?
Yeah.
What motivates them is going to be different than what motivates people probably my age.
Yes.
So it's really important.
No, I mean, there's that phrase, the only thing that's constant is change. And so what can you do to make sure change is happening effectively and that it's happening in a way that's not honestly making your employees crazy?
Yeah, I tell you what. So is this your first time at the event?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think so far?
So far, it's awesome. I love the use of kind of the space to also be able to meet with a lot of the sponsors.
Yeah,
and then,
absolutely.
Having those breakout spaces and and the
Yep.
food's been pretty good so far. So I
Good.
can never complain about that at a conference.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting some bad spring weather. I heard storms were happening, so everyone's inside. And
It's my fault. I brought them from Milwaukee. They hit last night in
see?
Wisconsin. I was racing them here, so they
Oh,
followed me in my
man.
rental car. I'm sorry, Ohio.
Yeah. I mean, it's April. This is what you get in the
Yes.
Midwest, right?
Oh yes.
So what's going to be your focus on this breakout? You know, how are you going to get people engaged? Are you going to ask them questions? Like, what's your approach to this breakout session you got?
Yeah, I definitely am all about audience participation. I am a huge comedy person. Everyone says I'm funny. I'm trusting them that I actually am. So
Awesome.
hopefully we get some laughs. We get some,
Yeah.
participation throughout.
Very cool.
I bring a lot of good data nuggets too, or at least I hope they're good data nuggets.
It's
So
always good.
all those things together, make for a good time.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And so you're from Milwaukee.
Yes.
You've been with MRA for
Just
what did you
under
say?
7 years.
7
Yep.
years. Okay. So tell us a little bit about MRA for
Yes.
people that don't know about
Yes,
MRA.
yeah, 100%. So MRA is really an HR help organization.
Okay.
We're an employers association. So
Okay.
organizations join membership or can also use us as non-members.
Okay.
Members get access to a 24/7 HR hotline,
Got it.
30,000-ish resources. So if
Okay.
you need an HR policy, you don't have to write it from scratch. We've already got it.
Got
We've
it,
had
yeah.
members say they've plagiarized from us before, and I'm like, it's not plagiarism if we're giving it to you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you have the option for additional support on an hourly basis from recruiting services, compensation. We've got a number of learning and development trainings, leadership training, HR training. So you name it, we're just there to help HR because, they're the group that needs help and doesn't get it within the organization a lot of times.
Yeah. So from staffing and recruiting, that's
my jam. Yeah. That's
yeah.
what I talk to organizations day in and day out about is how do we find people again? How do we retain them too? But when we have needs, whether it's turnover or whether it's growth, how do we bring those people in?
Right.
So we're there for you.
Do you have a favorite interview question?
Ooh, I'd say probably one of my favorite interview questions, actually, Andre said it too, is what's your dream?
Yeah.
What inspires you? What keeps you motivated? And it doesn't have to be work related because like he said, the more you know about a person, the more you can connect to them through the role.
Right.
And so being able to know their dream is to have, the flexibility to be at sports games for their kids. Well, great. Here's why we are the perfect organization for that.
Yeah.
That knowledge just helps you to sell the role better. So that's why I love it as an interview question.
Yeah. There's so many out there. I typically ask about accomplishments. What's your biggest accomplishment? And they'll say, well, do you mean like in my personal life or professional? Or I'm like, it doesn't matter. Wherever you want to go with that question. You know, it's thinking, about somebody's past and what they've accomplished. Maybe it's a job that they got promoted in or wrote a book or, raised kids, as a single parent, something that shows me that they are committed to individuals, family, their job, a passion, right? A dream, so I'm sure you get a lot of responses that help you kind of see what people's dreams are. When you ask them that. So,
the other one I really like is tell me about a time you failed because the way that you see people acknowledge but then say how they grew from it is so nice to see. So that's always fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, there's so many good interview questions. And I always am curious when I'm interviewing people, like what questions they're going to ask me.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And what I tell people, one of the best ones, and it goes into retention. It's like, who am I going to be managed by?
Yes.
And what's their management style?
Mm-hmm.
How do they work with their team? Because maybe that person interviewing them is in HR and they don't know, but it shows that person, that's being interviewed or, the company representative that this person wants to know who's going to be managing them, and if they have a lot of turnover issues, if they have a loyal team that works well with them. And, if someone, because I've had really good bosses.
Yes.
Mine right now is awesome. Thanks, Amy. You're awesome. Like, it's really nice to have a manager that motivates you and really challenges you and helps you develop as an individual, right? And then there's some that just aren't cut out to be a manager. So it's like, if you ask that question and someone's like, oh, this person's managed for about a year, they're building their team out and, it's been a really good experience for them. You might be a little hesitant if that person is like a newer, inexperienced manager, and they might have some more turnover than other seasoned managers, right?
Absolutely.
So
Mhm.
that's something that you should consider asking
Yep.
if you are in the job market,
Yeah.
which a lot of people are.
Mhm.
You
A
know?
lot of candidates lately are asking, what does success look like in this role?
That's a good one
So
too.
they're
Yeah.
already placing themselves in the role, or they're asking, what are my goals going to be 30, 60, 90 days?
Yeah, that's a
And
good
so
one.
that's a lot of organizations that my team is talking to. That's one of the questions we ask in our kickoff.
Yeah.
So that we can speak to that to candidates right away on that front end. And then
Awesome.
also to get the team thinking about it, because on a candidate side, there's nothing worse than hearing 3 different answers to that.
Right.
And one person's going to say success is this and one is this, and they're 2 totally different successes. So making sure your team is aligned on that answer,
Yeah.
because like I said, a lot of candidates are thinking like, I want to succeed in my role. I don't just want to
Absolutely.
be here.
Yep.
I want to be growing in it, and I want to show I'm successful.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're streaming live on LinkedIn and YouTube. Speakeasy HR presented by Apparel Partners. So we're at the HR Collaborative in the Delta by Marriott in Sharonville, right?
Yes.
We're in
Yep.
Sharonville. Can't remember
Outside
where
of
we're at.
Cincinnati.
Outside of
We
Cincinnati.
both traveled in. We don't know.
Yeah,
where we are.
yeah. My commute from Kentucky was a little bit shorter than Kathy. So, well, was this your first time to Cincinnati?
No, actually, my 3rd time to Cincinnati.
Third. Okay,
So
got it.
I'm sadly not getting to a game at Great American Ballparks this time. So
Okay. Well, get some Skyline, get some Grater's ice cream.
yes.
They have a really good one out with bourbon in it now. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
All right.
it's very good. So
Good to know.
New Riff, if you're hearing, ice cream is amazing.
Yes.
Collaboration with and then there's a Skyline chili ice cream. So if you like
I gotta
Skyline chili,
go.
that's really good too. It's really hard to find, I guess. I picked one up at Kroger and ate it all, and I don't think you can buy it anymore. Maybe you can, but
Maybe. Yeah.
anyways, maybe this will be sponsored by Graders one day, and I can have all the ice cream I want.
We can connect you to their HR person, actually.
How about that? That's great. Well, thanks for coming by.
Absolutely.
Good luck in your breakout. I'm
Thank
sure you'll
you.
do awesome. And again, if you are not here live, obviously we'll be interviewing some of the breakout guest speakers. So we've got a few more coming on. I think the next one was stuck in Florida, and I don't know if he's actually going to be here. So we might shift to somebody else. But that's why it's fun that we're doing it live, right?
Doing it live.
So
Yep.
it's all good. Well, thanks a lot for coming
Absolutely.
by.
Great
Nice
to meet you in person.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right. We are live with my next guest, Scott McGowan.
Hey, how's it going?
You are the first returning guest on Speakeasy HR.
Well, I appreciate that.
You were on back in the fall, and we talked about one morning, and
Yeah,
you were just coming back from a flight from Florida, so hopefully everything's okay. But I appreciate you stopping by and chatting a little bit, because we've got a few things to talk about. You're part of the breakout session in what? You're in the afternoon, right?
I think 1:15.
Yeah. So you're
Yeah.
Kathy was just in, and she's with you at the third breakout session. So For those that don't know Scott, if you just want to tell us a little bit about your background. I know you've been in, a different venture for the
Yeah.
last year or so. So start with that.
So Scott McGowan, married to my best friend.
So am I.
We met 38 years in June. Got 2 kids, Courtney, married to a guy named Jack, 3 grandkids from Courtney and Jack. They just had their 3rd, Taylor, our son Taylor,
Okay.
married to Megan.
Awesome.
They've got a little baby boy, and he's almost 6 months old. Worked at McGowan Brabender for 35 years.
They're here. They're here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Retired for a whopping 15 days. And then here we sit.
Here we
So
sit.
here we go.
Yeah. So you're bringing a topic that I've heard a little bit, obviously, with culture's an inside job. And you've played this game. So, like I said, you're the returning guest. But, we don't know all about you. And this is a way to do the envelope icebreaker game again.
I remember that.
You remember what number?
Three.
Pick 3. Okay. All right. Number 3, we got, drum roll. What was your first job that you earned a paycheck with taxes deducted?
Oh, good question.
First job.
First job would have been taxes deducted. I don't think Paperboy, that worked.
No?
Cutting grass didn't work.
Okay.
It's got to be delivering pizzas.
Delivering pizza.
It's got to be Casano's Pizza.
Sorry, I wasn't.
No, it's not. It's I worked in the I worked in the bag room at Sycamore Country Club.
Bagmore at Sycamore. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, clean golf clubs.
Like Caddyshack.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Throwing bags on the cart, all
Oh,
that
yeah.
good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, learned a lot of bad jokes, all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I've worked at a few golf courses in my day, so I can relate.
Mhm.
I can relate. Sorry, my ticker at the bottom still had the prior guests. So, when this is a one-man show, it's
Hey,
I'm the editor. I'm the,
kind of impressed. I mean,
so
you got lights going on here. You
got
got
lights going on. Yeah. So this
got
is
the
the
whole
first
thing.
time live at an
Yeah.
event. So your topic today, I think, is a really important topic about culture.
Yep.
And it relates to the book that you wrote. So since we only have like 5-10 minutes to talk, I want you to kind of give a quick overview of kind of
Yeah.
what your approach is going to be and how you're going to engage with the folks there. So what's going to be some of your key points in this breakout session today?
I think the biggest thing is organization. Culture is really important in an organization. And it's not about paint on the wall. It's not about ball chairs. It's not about ping pong tables. But, at the end of the day, it's really about the culture that we carry inside of us.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter whether you're the CEO, because everyone has a culture. And the important thing is, at least from my viewpoint, is what is your culture on the inside? And if you're trying to fake a culture, if you don't know who you are on the inside, life gets pretty wonky. It's pretty complicated. And so really what the book is a lot about, in a nutshell, is I have a strong belief that the mirror is a wonderful place to find a friend. And it's a journey to try to figure out that friendship.
Yeah.
And it's a scary one.
Well, you even said at the back, when the ego dies, the company begins to thrive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So and that probably relates to the business owner.
Yep.
The managers, the people that really are there as leaders, right? To be a good example to everybody. And as the previous guest came on, she was talking about retention and turnover, and everybody wants to have good retention, right? They don't want to be filling jobs. It's hard to fill jobs right now. 60, 70, I think 72% of people are always out looking for jobs, right? So I'm always curious when I'm interviewing people, Scott, nobody ever asks about the culture.
Yeah.
I tell them about the culture if they don't ask me, because I want them to know what they're getting into, right? Like, here's what we're about. Here's our culture, right? We're a small business. We're in the payroll business. but we're also in the people business. Like we want to help people with their payroll technology issues and HR technology issues. So like the faster I can tell them about the culture, they're going to have a mindset of, okay, that's the culture I want to be in, or maybe it's not for me. Right.
Yeah.
So, what are, if someone's coming to your breakout session today, obviously people watching are not. So I want them to have FOMO. I want them to feel like they missed out on your discussion at the breakout. So, what are some of the things that you're going to kind of tell these people and really try to help them kind of think a little bit and get their mind going?
I think it's really around the five senses. So what does somebody see?
Yeah.
When they approach you or your organization, what do they hear? And by the way, 80% of what we communicate is nonverbal. So what we communicate in regards to our nonverbal skills, tone, inflection, body spacing. We just have to understand what that means, what they feel. So how do they feel when they're around us? What do they taste in regards to affirmation, encouragement, and then what do they smell? Not literally what they smell, but what do they smell in regards to a motive? Everyone has a motive. So why am I sitting here? What are we talking about? What do you want from me?
Right.
And if that motive is authentic, then we have connection. And if that connection works, then we have a relationship. That relationship begins to work. Then it's game on. Like even you said, like payroll. At the end of the day, you might process payroll, but you're in the confidence business.
Oh yeah.
You're not in the payroll business.
Right. Yep.
So you're in the confidence business, and instilling peace of mind and confidence and all of that stuff. And like even at McGowan Braben, I used to tell people, "Gosh, I hope you don't think we sell insurance. That would be a miserable existence. That's not what we do. That's not what we do, right?" And so businesses to kind of understand at the core of your heart and soul, what do you do?
Yeah.
And it's not what you think you do.
Yeah.
So what do you do? And figure that out.
Yeah.
And sell that.
Right.
Sell that.
Right.
That's what people want. It's not the product. It's the relationship and the people.
Yeah. It's so important. I mean, human connection, the personal connection. We're going to have AI continuing to evolve. It's machine learning.
Yep.
But what you just said will not be taken over by AI. It'll help people be more efficient, more strategic in a lot of different ways. Kind of like what I do with this podcast. I use AI, so it's but I do them live. So this is not AI generated. We're live. We are having real conversations with real people on topics that they are passionate about. And with your passion, with the other focus that you've been doing, One Morning. So what's an update with One Morning that you can share?
Yeah, so real excited about that. We've got a launch date.
Launch date?
Yeah.
Awesome. You're hearing it right here.
Launch date June 12th.
June 12th. Okay.
In Dayton.
Okay.
At Sinclair.
Awesome.
It'll be the healthcare forum sponsored by the Dayton Business Journal.
Okay.
So we'll have all three of the hospital CEOs talk about healthcare, and then the second half will be the impact of mental health in our region.
Okay.
And then at the very end, we will unpack One Morning and talk about the launch and the impact hopefully we can make in our region.
So in 60 seconds or less, explain to everybody what One Morning does, or what is it?
Yeah, One Morning really sits as a front porch to bring a sense of belonging to mental health inside of an organization. So it takes the organization's resources, your employee assistance program, community resources, other resources, and puts them on the front porch, ditches all the healthcare, all the jargon, and opens that up through compelling storytelling for your workforce to kind of nudge them, to let them know that it's okay to say, I'm not okay, and I want some help.
Yeah.
That's what One Morning does.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so sure.
We're coming up. Is that tomorrow? No, it's not tomorrow. It's Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah. Today's Tuesday, right?
Right. Yeah.
No, very exciting, and super excited for you and One Morning and everything that you've got going on. So I wish you the best in your breakout. I know you'll be awesome because you're a very good presenter. I've seen you many times, and I hope everybody that does decide to go to yours will take a lot away from that. So
I might be by myself.
I don't think so. I don't think so. If you are, I'll stop by because
Perfect.
I don't start my second
Maybe it'll just
afternoon
look like
session.
this
Yeah,
in the afternoon.
yeah.
100%.
So you might get
Yeah.
a live with just us here.
Yeah.
So, well, Scott, thanks for coming by.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Good to see you,
Absolutely.
man. Best of luck. All right, we are 3 in. We've got 2 more in the morning session. So if you are watching live, I know that there is good audio, so that is good. And the next person is hopefully finishing her conversation and bringing her over, which she is a returning guest to Speakeasy HR. She was on already, but if you are watching live, you may not have heard of that episode with my next guest. So if you haven't, go to speakeasyhr.com and you will find it. Gave her the thumbs up, so she's on her way. Just 1 minute commercial from our presenting sponsor, Payroll Partners, while we're waiting for Sammy to come over.
Finding a new employee takes time and money. For one position on a single job board, you could easily spend a minimum of $5 to $10 a day advertising a job post. It's worth noting that the average time it takes to hire a new employee is 36 days. However, it can take longer than that. You could find yourself paying hundreds of dollars a month for a single job board. And if you're using multiple job boards for multiple positions, this could add up to thousands of dollars a month. There is a much simpler and more affordable way of finding the right candidate. At Payroll Partners, we offer an applicant tracking system to help manage your hiring process. Our ATS is customizable, allowing you to decide which days you want to run the job and when to close it so you don't break the bank. And this feature lets you e-blast your network, posting jobs on multiple boards at once, all managed in one location. Payroll Partners, elevating your payroll and HR experience.
So thanks to those who are watching live. I am glad that you can hear me okay. And again, if you haven't been to the HR Collaborative, it's, I think, their 20th year doing this event. And a lot of great familiar faces here that I've seen. Great vendors, obviously Payroll Partners. Daryl on our sales team is here. So if you are in the market for just evaluating your payroll technology, look us up at payrollpartners.net. There she is.
Hello. Thank
Clip
you.
that on.
Make sure I'm not caught on the chair today.
Oh,
Okay.
good. Get the ticker up there. So we are live on LinkedIn and YouTube doing these awesome interviews with our guest speakers. The next one is a reoccurring, revisited, I guess is the
Yeah.
word, guest on Speakeasy HR. So Sammy Kelly, welcome. And you are doing a breakout session with the others that we have talked to. So you
Yeah.
are,
I was actually earlier this morning.
How did it go?
I think it went really well.
Yeah?
I was really excited. We had great engagement. I think folks really resonated with the messages. And, I had some folks come up to me afterwards saying, like, I have neurodivergent children, or I'm
Yeah.
neurodivergent myself. And
Yeah.
you know what? I needed to hear this today.
Yeah.
We needed to see that representation. So
Yeah.
I think it was awesome.
Well, a few years ago, this probably would not have been a topic discussed. And I feel like it's
No.
becoming more and more of a topic. Kind of like AI, it's becoming an ongoing conversation and ever evolving. So, Sammy, for those who have not seen you on the previous episode or know much about you, just tell us a little bit about your background and kind of how you got to this this venture that you're on now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I used to work for an amazing outsourced HR management firm, big fan of them. And I was doing good work, but not great work. And I kept going, what is holding me back from success? Why am I hitting these barriers that are kind of transparent? I don't know quite how to get past them. And it wasn't until I got an ADHD diagnosis at 27, long after I graduated college, going, oh my gosh, the world is so much different than I understood it to be. As I began to adapt my life and adapt the way that I worked, I began to feel more and more called to talk about the experience, to advocate for neurodivergent understanding and empathy. And so that's how it led to my organization, Beyond Neurodiversity.
Yeah.
And we've been helping organizations create those environments and cultures for neurodivergent people. We've been doing training, coaching. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing that now?
Gosh, I am in my first year. So it's very exciting time for growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that is that's awesome. And we'll dive into your breakout session a little bit, but all of the guests I'm having on doing the envelope icebreaker game.
I love the envelope icebreaker.
So we're gonna play that again. Remember what number you picked? 7 or most of the picks. Oh, gotta.
Yep.
I guess it played. I don't know.
I guess it played.
I'm the editor, creator, content
You are wearing
guru.
all
Every
the hats today.
every hat. I have nobody helping, so this is all me. All right, 1 through 15. What number?
Let's do 4.
Number 4. We got number 4, and this is someone picked my favorite question, so this is not going to be my favorite, but it's a great one. What is your absolute dream job?
Oh my gosh, my absolute dream job. I'm kind of doing it.
Kind of doing it?
It's been a lot of fun getting to coach neurodivergent individuals, getting to work with organizations to help them create the environments. But if I had to pick an absolute dream job, it would be testing out luxurious resorts.
Testing out
around
luxurious
the world.
resorts. Okay.
And being like almost a secret shopper.
Is that a job?
I
Do
would
people do
love
that?
it. I would love it.
I mean, I'm sure there's like content creators that do that stuff, right?
Yeah.
They go on TikTok and they make a video about a resort, right?
Yeah.
And it blows up and it gets millions of views. And
yeah. But I would
Okay.
love to just be able to just go and
Do that?
just
Yeah.
try the best food, try
Okay.
the best drinks, have
Okay.
a great time.
So if anybody's watching and they have that as an option on their job openings,
Yes.
let me know. Or if you just want her to come and see your resort,
there we go.
give Sammy a call. Look her up on LinkedIn, and she will be your next influencer. So
there we go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love that.
So neurodivergent
Yes.
individuals
Mhm.
that you are working with and companies to help work alongside those individuals in their organization. And you probably got into it a lot with your breakout session, but since we only have a few minutes, if you just want to give us a quick few-minute rundown on what you're really your big talking points were
Oh, sure.
in that breakout.
Well, we talked a lot about what is neurodivergence.
Okay.
Just laying the groundwork. Neurodivergence is essentially it's cognitive diversity. So if you are part of the neurodiverse category,
Right.
Which we all are, neurodiversity encompasses all the ways that we think, that we process the world, that we experience what we're walking through. But to be neurodivergent means that you fall under diagnoses like ADHD, autism, dyslexia, and a whole lot more. So we kind of laid the groundwork there.
Yeah.
But then we got into managing these neurodivergent individuals. And we talked a lot about how it requires universal questions. So questions that you can ask anybody, neurodivergent or neurotypical. call.
Yeah.
So questions like, how do you prefer to be communicated with? When do you feel the most successful? What accommodations or adjustments might you need to do your job in the best possible way?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of different varieties of questions that we can ask, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to psychological safety.
Yeah.
And are we making sure that we are accommodating and encouraging and celebrating the different ways that we think in our workplaces?
Yeah.
We did a little case study, which was a lot of fun. We met Marcus, who was my imaginary team member, who was
Awesome.
neurodivergent,
Okay.
and got to learn a little bit about how to meet his needs, how to assess his challenges, and make changes that work for the whole workforce. And then we got into training and leveraging team strengths. So from the training perspective, it's really important to utilize universal design. Breaking our content into chunks, making sure it's multimodal, making sure that there are different unique ways and ways to get hands-on, to be an auditory learner, to be a visual learner, and then also just giving ourselves downtime to take it all in.
Yeah.
Neurodivergent people process information differently. And sometimes it can be faster, sometimes it can be slower. It depends on the person. But so it's important to just give your new team members the right amount of time to take in that information.
So you said you were 27 when you got diagnosed with ADHD, right?
Mm-hmm.
So are you finding that a lot of people are being, in their career, in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and finding out what they have, and then they go to their business or their employer and try to find ways that they can work better together? Or what's that process like?
Yeah, I think my experience was very indicative of the norm for people who are going through this late diagnosis. Maybe not, but I was talking with somebody after the session who said, I'm almost 40. I just found out I had ADHD, and now I'm using social media, and I'm doing as much research as I can to go back to my workplace and be able to say, this is what I've learned, this is what I need. A lot of us who are late diagnosed have already built processes or tips and tricks that we've needed to be successful. We've had to self-sustain in that way. But now that they're armed with that information, they're able to do a little bit more research, be a little bit more specific, and actually get the help that works the best for their brain.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It is such a fascinating topic, and there's not many people talking about it. There's one other person that saw your episode and was like, oh, I'm really fascinated. I do similar work, and they're not local. They're not local, but she's like, hey, I'd love to connect and try to share my stories and what I do, as a service. So I'm like, if I can get the word out, we need more people like that, right?
There can never be too many of us.
Yeah. And I think just as the generations coming into the workforce and the ones retiring, we're all going to face different challenges than our parents or people that are at the phase of retiring.
Yeah.
So it's just very fascinating. And then my kids, they're going to be coming into the workforce in, let's say, 10 years or 8 years. Their challenges and what the workforce is going to be like then is going to be different too. So I think you're on the cutting edge side of this kind of topic. So what do you think of the events so far? Is this your first time here?
No, this is not my first time here, but this has been great.
Yeah.
There's been such great conversation. I think some of the sessions are so interesting. I've sat in on, I want to make sure that I pronounce her last name correctly, Christy Dirick.
Yeah.
I sat in on her session. It was all about disrupting HR and being disruptive in your position. And I thought she had a lot of great insights.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for the afternoon sessions. I think they're going to be great.
Yeah, she's coming on later this afternoon. So on my afternoon session, you'll be, able to hear from Christy. So where can people find out about what you're doing?
Absolutely. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm under Samantha Kelly, or you can find more information about Beyond Neurodiversity at www.beyondnd, like neurodiversity.com.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. And I did tag all the speakers that are going to be on Speakeasy HR. So if anybody is watching, you can go into the comment section and you can find Sammy and connect with her. So thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, enjoy lunch. And there's a happy hour later, so I'm sure people will be partaking in that.
Great.
So thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks
Great
for
to have you on
having me.
again.
Yeah.
And have a good rest of your day.
Yeah. You
Thanks
too.
a lot.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, so we have one more guest speaker in the morning session of Speakeasy HR. So people that are watching live still, thanks for being on and tuning in and kind of seeing what's going on here. It's the HR Collaborative for 2025. So again, this is almost their 20th year doing this event in Cincinnati, and a lot of great breakout sessions. You can't get to all of them because there's only 4 breakout sessions and there's several breakout speakers within each hour. So everyone has to be strategic in where they're going and who they're talking to. So everybody that is on Speakeasy HR is one of the breakout session speakers. So if you didn't get to one of them on and you're watching after the fact, you can kind of hear what they talked about without actually going to their breakout session. So my next guest is behind me. She is just finishing up a conversation, so I will grab her and we will finish up the morning session with her. So 1 second. Before she comes on, again, our presenting sponsor for Speakeasy HR is Payroll Partners. So here's a few messages from our sponsor.
Finding a new employee takes time and money. For one position on a single job board, you could easily spend a minimum of $5 to $10 a day advertising a job post. It's worth noting that the average time it takes to hire a new employee is 36 days. However, it can take longer than that. You could find yourself paying hundreds of dollars a month for a single job board. And if you're using multiple job boards for multiple positions, this could add up to thousands of dollars a month. There is a much simpler and more affordable way of finding the right candidate. At Payroll Partners, we offer an applicant tracking system to help manage your hiring process. Our ATS is customizable, allowing you to decide which days you want to run the job and when to close it so you don't break the bank. And this feature lets you e-blast your network, posting jobs on multiple boards at once, all managed in one location. Payroll Partners, elevating your payroll and HR experience.
All right, we are in the final guest speaker session of the morning session of Speakeasy HR. So this is Jen. Let me just bring you up on the ticker. Jen Beck. She is bringing a different vibe than some of the other speakers today. So again, all of these breakout sessions are going on at the same time. So you can't get to every breakout session. So welcome to Speakeasy HR.
Thanks, David. It's good to be here.
Yeah. So is this your first time at this event?
No, I was here a couple couple years ago as well.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So this is my first time here, which has been awesome. Just seeing what the vibe is and
Yeah.
being able to interview some of the speakers. Obviously, I don't get to the breakout session, so I get to do a quick 15-minute interview, and it's awesome. So you are with Complete Health Revolution, right? So tell us about that.
Yeah, so Complete Health Revolution, the entire premise is to be able to help high achievers to thrive. And so we do coaching, we do corporate wellness programs, we help them to truly create a life that they love to live, and then fuel it with physical and emotional health. So within companies, we bring in both workshops as well as one-on-one coaching. So the idea is to be able to give people practical, applicable information and then support them with coaching to create lasting behavior change.
Awesome. Yeah, I was at a chamber event last year, and you came and spoke at Evendale Chamber, I believe. So you have not been on Speakeasy HR. Some of the other speakers actually have. So one game I play is called the Envelope Icebreaker game.
Okay.
So it's just a bunch of icebreaker questions. So I will let you pick a number between 1 through 15.
Okay.
And once this goes through, you can pick out a number. All right, you got a number.
I do.
What is it?
15.
15. I don't think anyone's picked 15. I forgot what's in here. Uh-oh. All right. Number 15. What was your favorite band growing up? Ooh.
Depends on which era.
Depends on which era. Okay.
I had a really diverse interest. So my first album was Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers. Love it.
Let's see, in high school, it was Steve Miller Band and AC/DC.
Okay. Still
it's just-
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's a diverse group. I would say I don't like country.
Okay.
Pretty much outside
Did
of
you
that.
grow up in this area?
I did not. I grew up in Minnesota.
Minnesota. Okay. Yeah, I grew up in Michigan, and country wasn't really a thing. Kenny Chesney.
Yeah.
I
But
knew
mean,
his
it was Kenny
cousin.
Rogers,
Kenny
but
Rogers, right?
because of Six Pack, the movie.
There you go. We're doing a live podcast if you want to partake and say hi. So, so you were in the first breakout session, right? How did it go?
It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good crowd.
Fantastic audience, good crowd.
So your topic was redefining, which is on the ticker, redefining corporate wellness, balancing employee well-being with bottom line results. So we all can't be at your breakout session, obviously. So what did you talk about? Like, what were some of your talking points in your breakout?
Well, really, if we're looking at building a wellness program that meets not just the ROI of the bottom line, but it really creates thriving employees, there's 3 C's.
Okay.
It's connection,
Connection,
it's consistency,
consistency,
and it's customization.
customization. Yeah.
So if we're most wellness programs, it's a one size fits all.
Yep.
There are apps, there are things like that, and they really fall short because it's more of a passive engagement. A lot of people don't want to manage or monitor their entire life on an app, and it's so easy to use an app, but it's also really easy not to.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So when you instead take some of that budget and really redirect it into workshops that are action based and then support that with coaching, we created an intrinsic motivation instead of holding out, like the gift card. It was what Andre was talking about this morning.
Yep.
Where you can be able to give somebody the goodie times and they're excited about it. But if that's the only perk that they feel like they're actually getting from the employer, no wonder they're super excited about that. But a lot of the goodie times actually are detrimental to the overall population thriving because they're donuts and pizzas and things like that, where we can be able to redirect some of those resources to supporting them and meeting employees where they're at, not just giving them a feel-good moment.
So when a company calls you and wants to work with you, what are some of the things that they bring up? Like, oh, we need a wellness program because we got increase in our health insurance, or we did an environmental assessment and they all want a wellness program. Like, what are some of the things that they say, hey, Jen, we need help because this is what we're hearing from our team?
Yeah. So a lot of it is the fact that their biometrics are going up, not down.
Right.
So they're creating more concern, especially at the leadership level. They're going, wow, we really need to make some changes, and what we've been doing isn't working. And from the employees, I did a wellness program with a manufacturing company locally, and one of the things that really surprised leadership is that the employees go, wow. One of them specifically, a key player, was like, this is the first time I really feel like my company truly cares. Because it was meeting him where he was at.
Yep.
And a lot of programs, like I said before, they're one size fits all, kind of cookie cutter, but not really meeting him.
Yeah.
So it's looking at the companies I work with are looking at the next level, and they're really engaged and committed to lasting behavior change and creating a culture of thriving people versus just check the box. We have a wellness program, like here. It's another bonus perk.
Yeah, absolutely. So are there any industries that you've seen a lot of success in?
Yeah, I mean, so I've done anything from customer service to healthcare, even manufacturing. So it's really more so the drive of the organization and what they want to create than the specific type of company.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Is there like a company size that you feel like is your kind of niche, or is it across the board kind of?
For me, my sweet spot is really between 100 and probably 750.
100 and 750, yeah.
So I mean, it's a small to medium sized business that really wants to be able to build in wellness culture to what they're doing. Yeah. And so we can be able to do hybrid models, we do on-site. And again, the key is really to be able to create the personalization, the customization. So we start with assessments at a global level, and then we niche those down based on what those responses are, so that we can meet the employees where they're at.
That's awesome. What's maybe a success story that comes to mind as you think about all the companies you've worked with?
Yeah, so one in particular, it's a smaller manufacturing company, and they really wanted to build a culture. And so they had a wellness program, they had the app, they supported them with other programming. So we really want to bring in more of a personal approach. So one of the workshops we did was really eating to fuel your body and expand your energy, increase your energy. And after that workshop, we did one-on-one sessions. We did 15-minute laser coaching sessions about where are you at now, where do you want to get to, what's in the gap. And in that, we laid the foundation down of healthy living. And we workshopped it. One of the biggest challenges, people go, I know I should drink more water, but I just can't figure out how to get it in. So we workshopped through that and actually helped them create strategies. We did a one-on-one session, and then the next session we did as a group. The feedback was incredible. So the company was already buying them their favorite snacks and their favorite beverages and stuff. When we came back, most of them, if not all of them, had decreased the amount of caffeine they were drinking. They weren't drinking the sodas and the monsters and things like that. They were drinking water.
Yeah.
And plain, pure water.
Wow.
But one of the gals, she goes, I'm excited to be at work. Like, I have energy. Wow. Another one was sleeping through the night. I mean, every single person around in the room, we had about 15, 20 people in the room. And every one of them shared something that they felt different. They had more energy. And the morale of that group was so much higher because they were feeling good. And they were doing it because they understood why. They understood what the importance was. And they knew how to implement it so they could create lasting change.
So if anybody wants to just have more energy, because everyone wants more energy, and then they go to various energy drinks or 5-hour energy, whatever. What's like one thing that someone could do to like help their energy level?
Drink water.
Drink water. You heard it. Drink
it is
water.
Really that simple. So half our body weight in ounces of water is what our body needs minimum. And so if we're not getting that much, we start developing brain fog at 2% dehydration. Our energy sinks when we're dehydrated, so we grab caffeine, which actually dehydrates us more. So it becomes a cyclical thing. So drinking water, actually getting some sleep is beneficial. And then making sure we're balancing our blood sugars, so we're really fueling our body versus just filling our stomachs.
Yeah, very awesome. So what got you into this kind of work? What led you into this?
Yeah. It's funny because if you rewound the clock to my early 20s, you would not think I was doing what I'm doing. I was living on sugar, caffeine, and I smoked a half a pack a day. I mean, really great health coach. But my mom had a series of relapses. She had multiple sclerosis. And at the age of 49, she went from living on her own to being in a nursing home in 6 weeks. And it was like, talk about a wake-up call. But I remember standing in her living room and watching her sort through every one of her possessions. What's going in the nursing home, what's going in the storage, what's going in the garbage, what's going, with her. and just going, whatever I can do, I want to help her.
Right.
So I started researching in nutrition, and I met a woman who had MS the same amount of time as my mom. Her husband was a pharmacist, and when I asked her what drugs she was on, because this woman was untouched, I met them at a conference. Her and her husband were waltzing across the ballroom, and my mom had been walking with a cane since I was probably 7 or 8. Same amount of time, same age.
Yeah.
And I said, "What drugs are you on?" She goes, "I'm not on any medications. My husband didn't believe in them. Your husband, the pharmacist, didn't believe in the drugs."
Wow.
And I said, "What did you do?" And she goes, "Diet, supplements, and exercise." And I was intrigued, so I started researching more. And the more I did, I saw people reversing MS and heart disease and cancer and fibromyalgia and everything I thought was a life sentence. People were reversing. So just by changing diet, lifestyle. So I went back to school for nutrition.
Okay.
We were able to get my mom out of the nursing home into a group home. So we changed her lifestyle, changed the supplements she was on, and she passed just before her 65th. But her doctors and nurses said because of the changes that we made in her lifestyle, we extended her life by at least 5, if not 10 years, and tremendously improved the quality of life while she was with us. So for me, the work that I do, it's really more of a, tribute to my mom, and it's a mission. I decided if I could help one family prevent putting a parent in a nursing home early, prematurely, my job was done.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. That's a lot of people just get into a job and they have a career and they just kind of bounce around like a lot of people within their career and so going into an industry or a job that's super like meaningful and passionate and you can see it when you talk to people like yourself. I mean, that's incredible. So what do you think of the event so far? I know we're at lunchtime.
Incredible.
I'm sure you're hungry. So yeah, it's been an awesome event.
Great event.
So again, we've been here for half day. It goes into the afternoon. So you're my last speaker guest for the morning session. So I have several in the afternoon. So people that are watching, if you are able to watch in the afternoon, you'll hear from several others that are doing breakout sessions either this morning or this afternoon. So thanks for coming on. Wish you all the best. And where can people find more about your work?
Yeah, you can go to CompleteHealthRevolution.com or find me on LinkedIn, Jen Beck.
Yep. So I've tagged her on the episode. So if you want to find her, look her up, and wish you all the best. Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, everybody. So that was the last of the morning session. So coming up in the afternoon session live starts at 2:25. We have Kim Dubé, Christy Deering, Todd Birch, Kathleen Snyder, and Becky Foster. So if you are watching live and want to watch the afternoon session, go to my LinkedIn profile and you'll be able to find that event for the afternoon. So thanks for tuning in to Speakeasy HR Live from the HR Collaborative. Everyone's here for lunch. It's lunchtime. So